Hello, listeners. Today's episode is rated PG. Tune in as I get a chance to sit down and talk to an amazing, talented artist, Sedrique, as he takes us through his experience and his journey in creating his brand new debut album, Seducation, which is out right now on all streaming platforms. Check the show notes for links and go support an amazing, talented artist. Sedrique shares with us a very deep and personal journey for him and all the emotion and the talent that went into this album. So please tune in and enjoy. Welcome to IPA Sessions. Welcome to IPA Sessions, a podcast for independent artists. As always, I'm your host, Kay Jacob, and this is a place where I like to try and provide inspirations for practical application in entertainment. Today, I have an amazing guest on, someone who I've been lucky enough to meet in my day-to-day job, who was an incredibly humbling human being, an incredibly talented artist, and an amazing singer. I have an actor, a vocal coach, and a singer-songwriter promoting his new R&B pop album, Seducation, with the new single, Sick Of. Please welcome to the show, Sedrique. Say hi.
What's up, everybody?
Hey, glad you made it on.
Man, it's been a long time, man.
You know, and I know with the first season of this show, I wanted to get you on sooner, but you're like, I got all this new stuff I'm working on. I'm composing this great new work, and you're so excited about it. I said, well, let's just hold off and wait till you're ready. And you're finally ready. As of today, March 3rd, you are ready. This is out there. You can find it. You can listen to it. I'm so proud of you, man. I'm so excited for you. Why don't you just kind of take us through a little bit of who you are, what you do, and tell us a little bit about this new album out.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Sedrique, and as he said earlier, I'm a singer-songwriter, pianist, vocal coach, vocal actor, a regular actor. And basically, I grew up with music. My whole family's musical, so that's kind of like all I know. It's part of my tapestry, right? You know, going to church, I learned how to play organ first, and then it was piano. And then, like, you know, during offering time, I would be playing, as a little kid, I'd be playing something from Disney. And they'd be like, wait, is that Little Mermaid?
That's amazing. I love it.
Is that Beauty and the Beast he's playing for offering? Hilarious.
Brilliant.
You know, as time goes by, I just like stuck with keyboard and really just like defining that craft and working on it and working on my voice, and got a vocal scholarship to go to Azusa Pacific University out here in, you know, LA, California. And, you know, it's just working on it. Cause this was what I wanted to do, really, is to be a singer and be able to create this world that I had envisioned in my head, right? I'm also a writer. I forgot to tell them that.
Yeah, please elaborate. Tell us all about you.
So, yeah, I do, you know, since COVID, I was like, oh, I wonder if, since I can write a song, you know, and that's 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes, I wonder if I can like write a short. So I just been writing whatever. You know, right now I'm currently working on something. I'm like 70 pages in.
Excellent. You got a feature almost. What is it, 80 pages for a feature?
I think so. It's what, hour and they said it's a minute a page, right?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. So it's 73 pages. So I got, you know, hour and 13 minutes right now. So I need another 10, 15 pages and should be straight.
Give them that ending.
Right. And how I started, you know, I started from the ending at the beginning. And so you're like, oh, snaps.
Yeah, very
And
nice.
it's something that really happened to me. You know, my father passed away last year. And so I kind of dove into, I'm going to work on an album. I need to get this, whatever this grief is, I need to refocus this energy into something creative, or else I'm going to go crazy. Right.
That's amazing.
And so go ahead.
I was gonna say that's amazing, and you know, with your script, you write what you know, so it's a great therapy.
That's basically what it was for me. It was just a therapy session, and then plus everything that was going on in the world. Yeah, like there's so much going on, you know,
it's
and
a lot.
Sometimes you just need like to get by yourself and just be able to shut the noise up and just kind of like put everything you're feeling into whatever it is that you're doing. So if you're writing, if you're, composing, arranging, if you're designing clothes, if you're a painter, whatever it is that you're doing creatively, sometimes it's just good to go and shut it all off and just like that gets your total concentration.
So would you say that with this new album coming out, is the entirety of this album kind of your, I guess, a nod to your father?
No, actually, the entire album is kind of like a nod to my girl Portia.
Nice. Okay. Very sweet.
And it's also just like relationships that, I've had, relationships that my friends have had that are toxic. I talk about, I was watching P-Valley and I'm actually like, oh, I'm going to place this song in there and it's called Dance For Me. And it's basically, it's a stripper song. So I got, I hit up my boy Ryan Toby, who's also another dope artist, and he co-wrote that song for me. He actually co-wrote Sick Of too.
Very
and
nice.
He was on the R&B group City High. So yeah, we got some hitters on the album. It's 12 tracks. It slaps.
So it's a full album. This is no EP. This is a full album.
Full album. Like,
oh man, that's awesome.
I didn't come playing with people this year. You know what I mean? I'm just being straight up. Like, I'm coming down your avenue, whatever it is that you're dealing with or dealt with, I'm talking about it. Cause I think music, there's definitely a message in music, right? But for my music, I always want to write stuff that's relatable and that has some sort of substance. Cause I think it's important that people feel like, yo, I'm not alone in how I'm feeling. Or I need a mood change.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're feeling down and like, I need to change this energy, and you put on a track that makes you happy. And it's just like that whole atmospheric change that happens. Like I want to be part of like being able to like, yo, me and my lady, I just want to be intimate with her. And I got a track for you. I got a song for you.
I love that.
It's called Can't Get Enough. You know what I mean? I think it's super important. Like, like you have music that stays around longer than the 3 years or 4 years, whatever. We have the classic music. That's that good music that 40 years old that we still listen to because it's just a
plays
banger.
At every wedding.
Every wedding.
Every wedding.
Every movie.
Every movie.
You know what I mean? Like
it's a soundtrack to life at this point. It's gone beyond movies and albums. It's a soundtrack to life.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny because I do have children, 23 and 21, that like on their playlist, it's like 90s R&B and like
you raised them right. Good job.
Yeah, 90s rock. And my son's an old soul, so he has like Luther Vandross and like 80s music. And I'm like the Eagles. I'm like, okay, all right. I like this playlist. Country on there. I'm like, yes. You got to be exposed to all of it.
A little taste of everything.
A little taste of everything, like a buffet.
And it's great too because, with what you're talking about, the theme and everything behind this creation of your album, it's very on point for R&B and what R&B music is.
Yeah,
so I think that's excellent.
For sure.
I want to ask you with your process here, what led you into just saying, no more singles, like really take the time, compose and produce a full-length album? What pushed you in that direction?
Well, I was thinking like it's easy to do a single, right? And push it.
Sure.
And I think the single it's great, but I wanted to tell a story with each track, like a lead-in song. Then the next track, you're like, oh, okay. So like, for instance, I have the interlude, which just says, I'm the one that brought you Train Station. That was on my first album. That was my first single. Then I Brought You Ran from the Morning. That's the second single. And then I Brought You Bleeding. And I'm just educating you on who I am, just in case you forgot. Like I'm back,
I like that.
And then the second track is Pull Up. And it's kind of like, okay, I'm telling a story in all of the tracks in its entirety. It's like, okay, I could have a full features like music video with all of the songs and it would make sense. So that's kind of the approach where I wanted to do. The album was supposed to be 10 10 tracks. But I mean, we just kept producing like songs.
Hey, when you're feeling it, go with it, right?
Exactly. And I'm like, yo, this has to go on the album because this falls in line of what, what we're talking about. And so in the COVID, when I say 2020 period to like 2021, I produced probably 16 songs.
Whoa.
Yeah. So there's still 4 songs that, could potentially be singles.
There you go. I like that.
Or maybe I'm starting on a new album called Enough Said,
I like it.
So, yeah, I mean, the approach is, I think singles are great because people don't really listen to full albums anymore. They put one song on the playlist and keep it pushing. You know what I mean? That's also another song on my first album.
Well, and I like what you're saying because with the theme that you've composed for this album, like you said, you want it to be different moods, different feelings. You're telling a story. So it's kind of like a day in the life or like a journey through your period of life that you went through.
Right.
So each song has a different vibe, different feel for it. It almost makes it feel like for those out there who don't normally listen to full albums, perhaps this one will because it'll cater to every mood that they're feeling.
That's the plan. That is the plan. I want to, yeah. So can I just run off the song list?
Share away. And everyone the album's out right now. So please do yourself a favor, listen as he talks about it.
Yeah. So we have the interlude of Sedrique, right? We have Seducation, track 2. Track 3 is Pull Up. Track 4 is Dance For Me. Track 5 is Sick Of, So Sick. That's what they called it. Track 7 is Bittersweet. Track 8 is Sugar and Spice. Track 9 is Can't Get Enough. Track 10 is Down. And track 11 is Mad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's more than, yeah. Okay. I think I'm missing 2.
You put too much on it.
I think I'm like, what is going on here? Yeah. So those are the tracks.
And it just takes you through this journey.
Yeah. And it just takes you through this, like where you're at, like finding love, getting to know somebody, being intimate. And I'm not just talking sex, but I'm just talking intimacy in its entirety, emotionally.
Yeah. Love is deep.
Love is deep, right? And I feel like as I get older, it's almost like that connection. Like once you get that connection, it's like you don't want to let it go because it's so hard to find, right? You know what I mean? Because that just enhances the relationship in its entirety.
There are moments in my relationship that, I'm sure everyone feels when you hit that mature level of like going more than just the sexual part of a relationship, but when you have the little things in life that they do for you. Like, you come home after a long day and they were kind enough to put some clothing that you had left out away, or, they took the trash out for you. And normally I come home and take out the trash. And it's like just those small little gestures like that, something simple that you don't think about. It means the world.
Absolutely.
And it's small little things like that I think is what really makes relationships great. And I love that you've made these albums expressing all these points of relationships that you go through, when you're hot and heavy in the beginning and then you have your little simmer phase. And then you have these moments where like, well, are we even still in love? And it's like, well, I'm doing these things that, you don't even say, you don't even notice it because it's just, I do it because I love you.
Exactly.
That's great.
Exactly. Wow. You hit that right on the head, bro.
I'm just trying to listen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I think for me, relationship is a big part of who I am at this stage of my life, and understanding that, all this music that I'm making stems from all those experiences that I've had with the relationships. Right. And not only that, but I'm a great listener. So a lot like Sick Of is about a buddy who loves toxic relationships. Like, bro, you guys can't break up every week. I mean, you can, but it's just like at some point, are you exhausted? Are you tired?
You're putting in all the work and getting none of the work back. Like, what's happening?
And like it's just emotionally draining for me as a friend to listen. I know it's selfish, but like at some point you're like, okay, don't even tell me anymore. Just kind of just do it. But anyways, a lot of the lyrics in there are things that he told me. And I think a lot of people can relate to being content in something. And like, I hear it all the time. Oh, I don't want to date it. I don't want to go out and start dating again and having to find it all over again. So I'm just deal with it. You hear that all the time. And it's like, well, okay, but you can't be that happy. Life's too short. Like,
right. Sounds like someone needs to listen to Seducation.
Listen to it. Go get it. iTunes, Amazon Music, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, wherever you listen to YouTube, wherever you listen to music, it's gonna be there.
That's right. So we've established that you are a singer and you write most of your songs, but you also work with other artists. When you were composing this album and putting it together, what was the effort to get everything in place? Like, who was the team that helped you do this? I'm sure there was some people behind the scenes that really helped you get some of the tracks down. Help you with your editing. I'm sure your lovely other half, Portia, was there to tell you like certain things in the music, like I like this, I don't like that. Like, give me a little bit of that process.
Yeah, she definitely was my muse. But so I found a producer. We call him Tuna because he loves The Office. And he is this 24-year-old kid who's just hungry, right? He's a drummer and he's dope, right? And basically I met him through another friend of ours and he was like, yeah, like you can really sing. Like, I have some stuff for you. You want to work together. Like, you could just tell when people like are genuinely like about the craft. You know what I mean? So we started, I was playing keys and I was just playing a chord progression. And he was like, oh, I like that. I like that. Yeah, send that to me. Like, so I was recording that actually. And he programmed some beats and put together and we called it Know Ya. And I wrote that, and that's basically how I met Portia, right? But like, yeah, so I have my cousin Dean. His artist name is I Am Quaid. He's also a producer, singer, songwriter. Also created a track called Down, which I don't think I put on there on the song list, but it's on there. I heard it because he said, yeah, I'm working on this this beat or whatever. And I'm like, I heard it. I'm like, I have to have that. It was just almost like it was calling me, And so I recorded that in his studio in San Pedro. We did that. I think it was July of 2020, 2021, something like that. I think it was 2020, July 2020. And then, I had Ryan Toby who co-wrote Sick of, or So Sick I called it, and Dance for Me. And then that's pretty much it. And Portia, obviously she had some input on word choices and some stuff like that. So, but I pretty much wrote the whole album.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I love that this is your album. It's your music. It's you're putting it out there, but you've taken the time to not only work, but share other musicians' gifts with you and let them actually have some input on this album of yours and put their songs out there that you collaborated on. And I think that's awesome that you were able to collaborate with these other artists like that.
Oh, and I forgot another one. My buddy, sorry for cutting you off.
No, go for it.
Christopher Leo rapped on one of the tracks called Sugar and Spice.
Okay,
he's an amazing rapper. And he's one of those guys that don't need to write it down. He just goes in the booth and just like, my baby, sweet to me. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Y'all like that? Y'all like that? Okay, cool.
He just goes.
And
I love it.
Goes. And then like, boom, you have a whole 16-bar rap piece. And you're just like, okay, that's it. He's like, all right, y'all good? Peace. Like, you just don't. And that's how Ryan writes too. He like, he has a melody. Okay, yeah. So this is what we're going to say, like on the fly. And he's written for Justin Bieber, Usher, Will Smith. His credits are long.
So you have some really talented people. That's amazing.
In my corner. And I'm truly blessed because, like, I always feel like that energy, that creative energy attracts other artists, other creatives.
Especially when you're open and willing to work and collaborate.
Right. And to answer your question, I think it's important as an artist because I think we get stuck in our own rut when it comes to creation. Like we do the same things and sometimes it's subconscious, right? Like, oh, I like that. I use that cowbell on every song and it goes ding, 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 like that. And like someone's like, yo, you should try it this way. And I think when you have a collaborative, when you come into a situation open, they always say, what? 2 brains are better than one. And it's true because when you get a group of people with the same goal, and that's to create something dope, you create it and it's just like kinetic. It bounces like, oh, what about this part? Yeah, let's add this. Okay. Oh yeah, let's add this. What about this lyric? Oh, this. Yeah, let's add that. Oh yeah, that sounds dope. Oh, why don't you sing it this way versus, Jacob,
Nice.
put some air on it. You know what I mean? There's different things like that you wouldn't even think of, that because you're so used to singing a certain way that you don't sometimes. I would say a lot of things simple is better.
Well, and it's almost like you're getting instant feedback right then and there,
Oh, absolutely.
which I think can really help when you're trying to put something out that you want it to be unique, and you want it, especially in the music world and being an independent artist, to make your music stand out. You've got to be original. You've got to be unique. There's got to be something about Sedrique. Look at that, I
Right.
rhymed.
Right.
But
You got
that's
it right,
what you
right.
need, something that makes you stand out. And the fact that you work with these other artists, it allows you all to stand out and really come together with something great, something awesome. That's a soundtrack of life. And I love that.
That's right. That's right, man.
So I want to ask you, this whole process that you went through, you had your collaboration with your friends and you got people to help you produce it and put it all out there. What was it like in the final stages of just finalizing this album? And, what are the steps that you, as a musician, for anyone listening that wants to do what you do, to really finalize their album and put it out there?
Really just get a good team behind you. You know what I'm saying? Like people that are not going to just blow smoke up your ass. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, you sound great, when you don't. I'm just being honest. Or when
You don't need yes men.
Yeah. Or when the track, like all music, just because you like it doesn't necessarily mean that it needs to be out. And knowing that, I think, whoever you listen to, like whoever is your inspiration and whoever that you model yourself after, that's already out, listen to their music. And I mean, you don't have to sound like them, but we know quality. We know how quality sounds. So I think it's important that you do a personal assessment on you as an artist. Is your brand good enough to compete with those people? And you can go through TuneCore, you can go DistroKid, CD Baby. I went through Dido Music, all those distribution companies and you can put your music out. Anybody can put their music out.
Yep. I mean, there's SoundCloud, things like
SoundCloud.
Yeah, Bandcamp.
There's so many things. But if you're really about your craft and really about it, then you do it professionally. You go to a studio, you take the time. And the studio, you don't have to go to a studio. I have a studio in my house. I can do my vocals here and send it to somebody. I don't have to pay, studio prices to have a studio sound.
Exactly. Get creative.
And that's just my opinion as far as, putting things out that are quality. Because I think we associate music, we associate artists by the quality.
Right.
And I don't know if you want to pursue it or what that looks like for you, but if you're putting it out on those sites, you want people to listen to it. You want to get fans, or maybe you're just doing it because like, oh, I just want to have something out. I don't know.
Well, and also for you specifically, Sedrique, you have this great way of self-promoting. You're making good use of social media. And right now for a lot of musicians, I think TikTok is just wonderful because it's a great way to see the artist and hear their music, especially the way that you put out your TikTok videos. You have these jam sessions sometimes I see that you do these amazing covers of, and you're just in the moment. It's your rendition of these covers. Cause it's like, I hear you singing and I was like, wait, that's not how that goes. But man, I like this. This is really clever. It's cool. YouTube is another wonderful social platform that you can do out there. And even Instagram. Most people have Instagram. They do Reels now. So I see a lot of artists using Instagram Reels, which is very similar to TikTok. And it's smart marketing on your part. And speaking of the marketing aspect, I like to sometimes dig into the finances of what it is to fund yourself as an independent artist. And if you're comfortable with it, I'd love for you don't have to name prices, but just how you went about self-funding yourself. And I guess ultimately the question is the payoff worth it now? Has it started to give you some revenue, or is it something that you're still working on yourself, but it's mostly self-funded?
Yeah, so it is self-funded. When you're an independent artist, that's the thing. You're paying for your marketing, your studio time, your features, your collaborators, your writers, your producers. So having multiple hustles and multiple streams of income is important.
That's why you yourself are an actor, a vocal coach, a stand-in.
There you go.
You do everything.
You got to have multiple jobs in Los Angeles.
Right.
And especially if you're doing artist stuff that costs money. The sound that you're going to hear once you, purchase my album, the sound is quality. It costs money, it costs money for the cover art. I mean, it costs money to put it on those platforms so you can get distribution to all of the stores. It's available in the world, basically. So I have it in all of like Africa, Europe, Asia, all of those stores, like iTunes, Denmark.
You're on every continent.
I'm on every continent, right? And so just marketing, just coming up with a marketing strategy, which includes campaigning. And, I have friends that are influencers and coming up with a budget for like, yo, can you promote? How much is it going to cost to promote, a single? Or I have friends that are dancers come up with a dance for, for the TikTokers, right? Come up for a dance and promote my single, or because really, if you're gonna play at a venue, they want to know like how many fans you have, right?
Yeah.
Like if we bring you on, can you sell this place out, right? So your marketing campaign, whether you're doing campaign on social media, whether you have a PR, and PRs run $1,000 a month depending on who they are. I mean, minimum. Bloggers. I mean, everything costs money. Everything costs money. So unless you're already there and you've already hit the big time, and you're the Chris Browns, you're the Ushers, you're the Beyoncés, then you don't have to really promote because you're already a household name.
Right. And if you're doing it right, you've already self-funded just simply recording and putting your music out there. So getting it out there, like, we said earlier, on all these different platforms and distributions, specifically if you upload your music directly to Spotify, things like that, you've already done the first step by putting it out there. Right. Now you can start taking the time to really looking into a lot of these places that Sedrique was telling us about that could help get you more exposure. Thank you for sharing that with me, by the way. I appreciate hearing that. And it's good to know that, yes, everyone has to be self-funded. When you're going the independent route, you're not signed to a label yet. Where do you start? Well, you got to start somewhere, and it starts with you. You got to put the work in.
Right. And, investors, coming up with business plans on, because they're going to want to know how they're going to get their money back if they invest in your project.
Right. And you're like, I just don't even know how I have money.
Exactly. So all the ways that you can promote, I mean, with the new technology, your iPhone's amazing. Your Google Androids, their cameras are amazing now, right? Mm-hmm. So you can go out. You can go out and you can record anything, to promote anywhere, right? With your phone. Bring it back and edit it on iMovie or Final Cut or whatever you use, whatever app that you use for video editing.
Yeah.
And then add some music to it and promote it, right? You can do that. Go. Right. And I've done that so many times just because I'm like, all right, I have a certain amount of budget for video content, right? Because as you know, if you don't know already, I don't do nothing half-ass. So, until that budget increases, this is what we're going to do in the interim. But I do have budget for music videos that I'm going to do. And those, depending on the concept, depending on the location, those run about $4,000, $4,500, camera, grip, you work in, the production side of videos.
Yes, sir. I sure do. Yeah.
It's not cheap, but for me, it's so worth it to see me being able to say, yo, I did that.
Well, and that's where your networking comes in with all the people from your other jobs that you do to fund this music career. Because I was going to ask you, do you have plans to turn? Because I know with the new album, you have all these songs, and right now you're really pushing a song from the album Sick Of. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, well, are you trying to make a music video for that? And it sounds like that's your plan to start doing that. And you got people like me, you got people that you work with on a daily that will come together when you ask. And it's that making sure that these are the right people that you can commit to, that will also commit to your project and really take the time on a weekend to film what you need. Mm-hmm. And then, get it all put together. So again, that's networking, collaborating, people that genuinely put the time and energy back into what you are putting time and energy to. Right. And it's not just you putting the time and energy into your own work, but taking the time to give that energy as well to the ones working with you and truly listening to them and working.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of my strong points is like, I'm a networker because we all have a lane. And I may not be a good camera dude, but I know one.
There you go.
I may not be a good boom guy, but I know one. You know, these people have put hours and hours into their craft.
Right.
And they have ideas that I may not have even thought about or haven't even crossed my mind. But because they do it all the time, that's like, oh yeah, that's easy. We can do that.
You know, what's great too about the networking is, and I'm sure you've experienced this because I've experienced myself, it doesn't hurt to just ask, especially if like you said, you may not be a great cameraman, but you know one. If that's the only one you know, ask them, because 9 times out of 10, if you ask them and they're like, well, I really like what you're trying to do, but I personally ain't available, they will reference someone who can help you. That's like, but this guy, this person right here, they know what's up. They can handle this for you. You should reach out to them. And there it goes. There's the networking. I mean, just don't be afraid to ask. Do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, a closed mouth don't get fed. That's what grandma used to say.
I love it.
You know? So, and I'm not too proud, to say, yo, I need some help. Can you help me? And I think too, because a lot of you can't be too prideful. You know what I mean? Like, I understand, people understand, artists have this thing, like, this is my baby, no one's going to touch my baby. You know what I mean? And it's like, yeah, but it takes a village to raise a baby.
Very true.
So if you use that concept and that, that logic for your projects, like, you want the best baby you can raise and make. So why wouldn't I want the best project out there? Because you never know who's going to listen to it. You never know. It might get, Run From the Morning was 2019 single. That was on, that got placed in I think it's Black Pumpkin. It's a horror film.
That's awesome. Incredible. Yeah. Nice.
You never know who's going to listen to it, who's going to promote your stuff. Like, again, oh, we heard this song on this playlist that'll be perfect for this TV show or movie or podcast or whatever. You just never know.
You never know. I mean, you put it out there and then the opportunities will start to present themselves. You just got to be open to it.
Exactly. You know what would be really cool is, I thought about this, having my own show or acting in a movie and having my song as one of the songs on the soundtrack. That would be so dope. That's my goal.
Ja Rule does it all the time.
There you go.
When his acting career took off, that's what he would do. He'd promote a music video and a song and put it on there.
Baby.
Exactly. Hey, just taking a quick little break here. Thanks for listening so far. And if you really enjoyed this conversation, I think you're going to enjoy listening to this awesome new song that Sedrique has been kind enough to give to us to listen to right here on IPA Sessions. This is from his new album, Seducation. You're listening to Sick Of.
Mind games, too many mind games. It ain't even daylight savings and your time changed. I try to stick around like fly paper, but I'm too skyscraper. I'm over you, yeah, I'm pretty much over you. You know it's been overdue, so don't get emotional. Don't be mad when you gotta leave. Take your bag, but could you please leave them house keys? Good luck living without me. We took vows and you still stepped out, believing nothing coming out your mouth. You know I was all in, trying to make it make sense. I was hustled by the best. I put you first, but I was second best. And now it's all over. I'm so sick of feeling this way. Can't change you, so I'm turning a page. Telling me you love me, but lacking in your action. You know they be choosing. You fuck around and lose me. Your mistake. So sick of. So sick of. You try me, so you know what I'm about. You Spike Lee sitting sideline now. We was on teams, now you on timeout. Doing side things you ain't think I'd find out, but I still found out. Almost broke me down. You cried tears of a clown. Your Uber pulling up now. I was hustled by the best. I put you first, but I was second best. And now it's all over. I'm so sick of feeling this way. Can't change it, so I'm turning the page. Telling me you love me, but lacking in your action. You know they be choosing. You fuck around and lose me. I'm so sick of feeling this way. Turning my page. So sick of. So sick of. So sick of.
All right, that was Sick Of from the album Seducation by Sedrique. The album is out right now. Go find it, check it out, and go support an amazing artist. And stick around for after the session because Sedrique has been kind enough to gift us with 2 songs to play during this podcast. So I'm really excited to give you another taste of his music at the end of the show. And now, back to the conversation. Sedrique, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your personal journey and your experience and, getting this new album together, putting out your music, how you network with people, how you interact with other artists and collaborate. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And now I want to get into some fun questions for you. I want to talk about the headaches. I want to talk about the heartaches. I want to talk about all the annoying stuff that you have to deal with. And my first question for you is, what's the biggest challenge you had to overcome? And maybe it's something that as this album is out today, right now, maybe you're still facing it.
I guess the biggest challenge is probably the funding, right? Actually creating a budget and like a for real budget, like with line items and understanding, reprioritizing your life. Basically, I won't eat out for these 2 weeks because I'm gonna, just budgeting, I think is one of the challenges. Also, being able to, I think a challenge too is when it's not there, don't force it. And what I'm talking about is, there's a couple songs that I wrote that I rewrote because I was like, it just doesn't sit. And I would sit on them for a week or 2, just listen to them, and it just wasn't sit. So a challenge for me was just like getting into that headspace where I'm like, nope, I'm not going to put that out because it's not, if it doesn't resonate with me, how's it going to resonate with someone else?
Right.
So getting out of my own way, I think was a big challenge for me because I'm a kind of like a perfectionist when it comes to this stuff. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's my baby, like Erykah Badu says, she's like, I'm an artist and I'm sensitive about my shit. So it's my baby. So I'm like, yo, I want it to be perfect, but perfect in like, I want it to resonate with people. So yeah, I think those are probably the biggest challenges.
Well, I definitely say that, self-critique is probably one of the biggest challenges that a lot of artists will probably have the hardest time facing themselves because like you said, it's your baby, but you got to know when to really look at it and truly critique yourself on, is this it though? And
right.
Yeah. I think that's definitely a great example of a big challenge.
And that's definitely where your team comes in,
right.
Where, you let them listen to it or run it by them. And, if you got a good team, they're going to be like, nah, or yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Well, moving along. So my next question here for you is, you've been working on this for a while, and the pandemic aside, what's something unexpected you had to face? And perhaps it's something that, you learned in the moment right then and there that you had never experienced while doing this.
My dad dying
through
it. I think that was kind of a hitter because you get in a zone, right? And I think that when you have emotional trauma like that, it puts you in like a different state of mind, right? So that could be a challenge as well, right? Kind of getting out of a rut of being depressed or, or grieving.
I mean, losing a loved one and a parent at that, It's not going to be, I can't even imagine. So yeah, I'm sure that was not what you were expecting.
And it wasn't unexpected, his death, because he died of cancer, but it was unexpected how I would receive it.
And then how that goes into your work as well.
Right. Because I thought, it's cancer, hey, you have a year left, and me processing that, but when it actually happened, it's like, but I didn't get enough time, or I should have called more. And you have this guilty and, or, there's always things that remind you, right? Which is why I told you I went into writing, because I was in that frame of mind where I was just like, yo, I don't feel like doing nothing. Like, I want to watch anime all day, or I want to watch whatever. I just don't want to. I don't want to do nothing creative. I don't
Turn
want
your
to
brain off.
turn it off. I want to. I want to be left alone. It's almost like you want to wallow in your pity, almost, kind of thing. And it's like, no, that's not what he would want, and that's not where you should be at. Like, yeah, you can grieve and be able to. You can grieve and be productive, right? Like, you have goals, and you can't reach your goals like this. So that's kind of like, Portia really pushed me to be like, yo, like, there's things that we need to get done, and we can't get it done like this. And specifically, you have a goal that's on your goal board, because I have a goal board of all the things that I want to accomplish. You cannot get any of those done in this state. And so when you have somebody pushing you to be the better version of you, and it helps because I think creatives need that, again, because there's some valleys. We all go through the valleys where we just clouds, and you're like, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to paint. I don't know what to design. I don't know what to write about. I don't know. Mm-hmm. And then you get inspired, right? So,
well, I thank you for sharing that. I know that's really personal, and I do appreciate it. And I am sorry that you had to lose someone like that in your life. But I think your dad would be extremely proud that you've achieved your goal. You've already made that accomplishment. So check that off the list.
Check that off the list. On to the next.
So again, and this is my last difficult question for you, but specifically related to creating your music, what's a hard reality you've had to deal with and accept? Something discouraging that you pushed through and resolved, or maybe it's just something that there's nothing to be done about it. You just accept it and you move forward.
That's a great question, K. Jacob. I think, like, you have expectations of, like my singles, right? I can talk about that because those are already out, and you have expectations of,
I love Bleeding.
Bleeding. Shout out to V for writing that, and Chris Corman for producing. So I think you have expectations of how well something's going to do, right? And you think that you can. It's hard to hear when it's not good enough, or it doesn't meet our, we're just not looking in that avenue at this time. Like those Run from the Morning and Bleeding got to submit it to music writing competitions, to placements for TV, film, on, sorry, we can't do this because it's not what we're looking for, or it's, they don't say it's not good enough, but that's
your classic rejection letter.
Rejection letter. So being able to receive that and move on, I think that's pretty difficult.
I'd say a hard reality is rejection, and learning to accept it, and like you said, moving on. Next one.
If one thing I know, like, being an actor, you go on, auditions, right? And you have 15 guys in there an audition, right? And you get the call back, right? And then you say, oh, you were great, but we went with someone else. Being able to take that and look within yourself and like, okay, then I need to be better. Whatever it is I need to work on. I need to figure it out, work on it, perfect it, work on it. Because the rejection really doesn't define who you are as an artist. It should just be there to really mold you and to build your character, build your brand, to make you better. And if that's how you look at it, then you're going to be better, because that should be a push for you.
Well said. Yeah, thank you. All right. No more of the sad R&B stuff. Let's get into some happier questions here.
Okay, great.
Let's talk about this amazing optimism that I also know that you have. And that is, what is the most valuable takeaway you've learned from your experience? Something that helped you grow and improve as an artist.
Also another great question. I just think, like, when people listen to this, to listen to your music, and we're like, I was going through this, and you hit yes.
That connection.
This made me feel this way, right? I had somebody say, train station, really changed my life. Wow. As an artist, when you can touch even if it's one person, like you're definitely paying it forward with your music, right? You're touching one person, from God knows what. But he's like, it changed my life. Like, wow. So yeah, I think that's the biggest satisfaction when you have people that you don't know DM you and say, yo, this is dope. Like, or yo, I know you don't know me, but I'm from France. And like, we love you over here when you're coming to tour. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's so satisfying.
Je t'aime, Sedrique.
Yeah, Sedrique. And I have the French name, Well, actually it's Greek, but there's a lot of Sedriques in
There you go.
Paris.
I love that. I think that's an incredible takeaway to have from your experience, is knowing that you have validation in the fact that you have inspired and encouraged others. It's the whole point of this show. It's the reason why I bring people on, is because I want you to share all these experiences that you have so that other people out there can feel emboldened, really, to go out and do it themselves just as well. Because if Sedrique can do it, they can do it.
Absolutely.
And nothing should stop you from achieving that.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right.
Earlier, Sedrique, we talked about, the unexpected, but I want to ask you now something that was expected. What did you want from this project of yours? What did you want from this album you made?
Well, I wanted it to be basically a banger. No lie.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. You remember like the old school albums, which had an A side and a B side, right? Like the 33s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, all the commercial songs would be on the A side, right?
You're going to give away our age, Sedrique.
I know, right? I am 29. I'm just an old soul. Okay. But all the songs that were really, really dope were on the B side.
B side was always the best side.
It is.
That's what the B stood for, the best side.
The best side, And so I wanted to be like, I want to have an album, a B-side album. Like, I want it to be all bangers. I want it to be all singles, but I want it to be all relatable and have some substance and be dope.
Honest. I like it. That's a great thing to want from you, especially because it's your personal achievement inside that you want and you expect and you feel that it's been delivered. I think that's great. All right. So I want to ask you now, what's your drive? What motivates you, man?
Man, music is part of my tapestry, man. It's part of my DNA. And so if I'm not doing it, I'm not happy. So that's my drive. My drive is just to create. And also, working with a lot of these great artists, I think it's an excitement thing. Like, oh, I get to work on something today. Or, like you said earlier, you saw videos of me with these, doing acoustic set here at the house. And, it's just like, if I can just reach people, like I feel like people in general just want to be empowered. They want some positivity. They want to feel good, and if I can do that with my music, then hey, it's doing its job. That's kind of how I feel about it.
And I'm glad that you mentioned the TikTok videos again. I really love, one of my favorite things about these sessions that you do is not only are the ones where it's just you on the piano, but you have some where you have this young guy, I'm assuming that might be Tuna, that comes in with an acoustic guitar or electric guitar, and like,
no, that's Jake.
Okay.
Jake Miller. Mm-hmm.
Jake Miller. Yeah. He'll come in there and I just watch you guys, you'll start to play a little something on the piano and he'll look at you and give you like a nod and he'll start to riff. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it just kicks in and you guys are just harmonizing and it's just so beautiful to watch. I don't know if you planned that, if it's in the moment, but it looks great. I love those videos. It's like, man, this is a cool cover that you do.
We just vibe, man. It's just like, do you know this song? Yeah, I know it. And then just started just jamming out.
That's
like
cool.
It's, what key you want to play it in? And then we just jam out. Like there's no rehearsal. It's just raw. Because I think there's something in like the uniqueness of it just being organic.
Right. It's a jam session.
It's a jam session. Like, yeah, what you see, of course it's edited, right? I mean, as far as like all the parts we mess up on.
Of course. Yeah, give us the good bit. I don't want to
great. I listen, we do mess up, but y'all not going to hear that.
Right. Yeah. Well, wrapping this all up, Sedrique, what is any advice that you have for someone out there looking to do what you do? Can you drop some knowledge on anyone, something helpful?
Find you a good producer if you don't produce or make beats, right? Whether you rap or sing or whatever it is that you do, just work on your craft. Work on your craft. You know what you do. And I think like anything's possible. They say anything's possible if you put your mind to it. And it really is. Like if you want to do it, you'll make it happen.
Yeah. Just do it. Once again, it's a recurring theme.
Just do it.
Just
like,
do it.
Put it out there, you know?
In every episode, that's what it always comes down to from every artist. So if you haven't heard it enough, you're hearing it again. Sedrique has said it. Everyone else on the show has said it. If you want to do this, just do it.
Just do it.
Thank you so much, Sedrique. I really appreciate you coming on.
Man, thank you for inviting me. I feel the love over there. You know what I'm saying?
I love conversating with you. This is great. I mean, we talk all the time when we get a chance to work with each other on sets, but you're just an amazing, talented individual, and I wish you nothing but success with this new album. I'm so thankful that you gave us a soundtrack to listen to. You gave us some really deep personal experience that you've gone through, and I do appreciate you sharing that. And for others out there, just know, even in your hardest, darkest of times, push through, use that to motivate you, because the ones you love and care about are the ones that are going to want you to succeed the most. Absolutely. So thank you so much for that. And I just want to say, this is your platform. This is a space for you. You've been talking this whole time, but I'm turning it over to you one more time. Please put yourself out there. Where can we find Seducation? Where can we find ways to reach out and follow you and support you? Plug it, man. Put everything out there you're going to put out there.
All right. So I am Sedrique. You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. The handle is I am Sedrique. It's all I am Sedrique.
Yeah, we'll have links in the show notes.
You're right. IAMSEDRIQUE for all those platforms. As far as the music goes, Apple Music, Amazon Music, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, YouTube. It'll be on SoundCloud, but not right today.
Gotcha. But coming soon.
It is coming soon. So wherever there's a digital store, you're going to see and hear me there. So yeah, it was great. Great. Thank you for having me on this show, man. I really appreciate it. I love the energy.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for sharing your experience with everyone. For those of you listening out there, do yourself a favor. It's out right now. Seducation from Sedrique. Go get that Seducation that you need. If you're feeling the mood, put it on a track, listen to it in its entirety, find that song you like, add it to whatever you need in your daily life. Just go out there and support this amazing independent artist. And I hope today you took away some really great inspiration and found that motivation you need, especially if you're a musician, a singer, a songwriter out there, and you're dealing with difficult times. You have these clouds that tend to block your creativity. Just push through, find your outlet, and make it. You can do it. If Sedrique can do it, you can do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And until next time, listeners, stay gold. Thanks for listening. Please be sure to rate and review and click that subscribe button for new bi-weekly episodes. As always, the theme music is provided by The Erica Page. Follow us on social media at IPA Sessions Podcast. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and now we have a TikTok and YouTube. All information and links are in the show notes, so show some love and support for these amazing indie artists. And if you'd like to come on and share your journey as an independent artist, reach out to me via email at ipasessionspodcast@gmail.com. Till next time, I hope you found some inspirations for practical application in entertainment.
When I'm with you, I feel like I'm cheating on you. There's a daytime you and a nighttime you. Please don't make me choose. When the clock strikes 12, this angel in disguise will have you full. You're the key to unlock the secret love affair. Give it to me anytime, any place, anywhere. Dirty, nasty, ratchet, sexy, bold, all the things I crave. I'll be quiet, girl, have it your way. Sugar, spice, sugar, I want spice, yeah. Sugar and spice, everything that is naughty, everything that is nice. Sugar, give it to me. That sugar, give it to me. Sugar, paper. On some boss type shit, competitive, but she'll get it in later. When she holds it down, a queen with a crown. True beauty I have found. You're the key to unlock the secret love affair. Give it to me anytime, any place, anywhere. Classy, tight, lovely, fun and bold. All the things I crave. I'll be quiet, have it your way. Give me that spice, that sugar. Sugar spice, your spice, that sugar spice. Oh, yeah. Everything that is mine, everything that is mine. Sugar, sugar spice, sugar. Give it to me. Sugar, oh, everything that is mine, everything that is mine.
My baby sweet to me, sweet to me, sweet to me. She always patient and this ain't no easy feat. We on vacation, we taking the easy street. When I'm out of line, she treat me like Easy E. She got an attitude, she go crazy, think you need a padded room. She passed me that ass like an alley-oop, then she turned right back into my macaroon. You are a goddess, let's put the BS behind us. We don't need others to guide us, we our own riders. Even if we were flying, girl, we couldn't be flying. Sky is the limit, but we going higher. Your baggage I'll carry, I don't mean Mariah, but I am obsessed, my love won't retire. Cause you are my queen and I am your lion.
Everything that is mine. I wanna sugar and spice. Give me that sugar, give me that sugar. Oh yeah, yeah. Everything that is mine, everything that is mine.